today to talk about search marketing, search engine optimization, and pay-per-click, and how you can use it to dominate the search results. A couple of topics we'll touch upon: an introduction to what search marketing is, how you can get instant results with pay-per-click, also known as Google Ads, and then how you can maximize your reach with search engine optimization. So search marketing is the only type of marketing where you can really get in front of somebody when they're actually looking for services that you provide. If you think about it, newspaper ads, commercials, even online display ads, you're showing them to people and you're hoping that they're looking for what you're trying to sell. But search marketing, it's being there exactly when somebody is searching for your service because they're ready to do something about it. So it's really important to make sure that you're optimizing and making sure that you show up in the search results. But it's not easy. 85% of searchers will never go past the first page, and 500 websites are created each minute, which means there's a lot of competition for making sure your message gets heard. When somebody does a search on a search engine, the search engine result serves up the results it thinks that they're looking for. They've really come a long way, and they're trying to interpret the intent of the query, not just match exactly on those keywords. So when Google or Bing does this, it's basically going to show up what it thinks you want to see. And that's the section in blue on the screen I'm showing you. It's the business listings, or it's the websites that it thinks are the best match. But it also gives advertisers the opportunity to show up when the advertiser thinks that that person should see their ad. And that's what you see at the top. That's the pay-per-click advertising. You pick a keyword phrase that people are searching on, and you have your ads showing if you pay enough money. So there's two different types of way to dominate. So your pay-per-click is that pay to bid. It relies on a bidding system. You only pay when your ad is actually clicked. So you can be seen 100 times, but if only one person clicks your ad, you only pay for that one. You select the keywords or negative keywords that you want to show for. So you can be very exact about when your ads are showing. It's easy to measure and do testing, and you'll see quick improvement in your online visibility. If you set up an AdWords account, you can have your ads up showing on that first page within 24 hours. You're also able to target audiences in multiple geographic locations, which is really helpful if you have a service that you promote outside of your local area. Now, search engine optimization is really about earning the right to show up on that page. It relies on the relevance and the authority. It's basically Google needs to know you have the content people are looking for, you're trustworthy, and you're a source of information that people want to see. It's much harder to move yourself up. It's very possible, but it takes a lot longer. And it really cares about where you're geographically located. So you're going to rank the best right in your immediate area. Now, for both topics, keyword research is critical, understanding what people are searching for and making sure you're optimizing for that. And just know that the results appear similarly. There's only one search result page. While the ads do show at the top and the bottom of the page, and the middle is going to be mostly that organic, for most people, they're just looking and it doesn't matter if it's an ad or not. They just want to get to the top results that's going to be the most relevant for them. So let's start with pay-per-click, since that's what comes up first on the results. So with pay-per-click advertising, you basically create a campaign and then you have ad groups. So for example, you might have a campaign for cosmetic dentistry. Within that, you can have multiple ad groups that depend on what the keywords and what you're trying to promote. So for example, within your cosmetic dentistry campaign, you might have an ad group for whitening, you might have one for veneers, you might have one for cosmetic dentists kind of generally. And you can also have different ad groups depending on the time of day of the week. There's a lot of different ways you can create your ads. Once you determine what your campaign and your ad groups look like, when you create the ads, you get a landing page together, you make sure you have the right keywords, you set a budget. Now your budget is based on how much are you willing to pay for people to click on your ad. And that can be set at the keyword level. So each keyword, you can change how much you're willing to pay for that particular keyword or that phrase. You also can have daily, and then you can have monthly budgets to make sure you're really controlling how much you're spending. Now, one of the important selection criteria when you're creating these ads is what keywords you're going to use. So Google has this great tool called the Keyword Planner. It helps you identify the words that you should consider using. Basically, you can go in, you can start to describe the word, the service, whatever offering it is, and it's going to give you an idea of what other words, what other phrases are similar that you should consider. What's the average volume of the searches that happen? Is there a lot of competition? How much you're going to need to pay? And you can do this, and you can take it and you can use just for your geographic location, so it's going to be even more exact information. It's a really great tool for understanding what it is that people are looking for. And the important thing to remember when selecting keywords is you want to select ones based on what the patient is going to search for, not what you would call that procedure. That's going to make a big difference in how much search volume you can get. Now, the great thing is it's not just the keywords you want to show for, it's also the keywords you don't want to show for that you can use. So negative keywords are a way to stop your ads from showing when somebody searches on a phrase that includes a keyword that you don't want. So one of the most common ones is the word jobs. If you have a keyword set for cosmetic dentist and somebody searches cosmetic dentist jobs, they're not looking for a cosmetic dentist. And by using jobs as a negative keyword, your ad will not show. And you won't pay for somebody who's not really looking for the service that you want. There's a couple other examples in here: job, salary, free, cheap. I mean, maybe you want to show for cheap dental work, maybe you don't. Really up to the practice. Other things, college, schooling, degree, things like that. Those are the types of things that you're going to want to exclude. Now, when you're putting together your campaigns, you want to pay really close attention to your ads and your landing pages and how they fit with the keywords. You want to be sure the copy matches the search intent. When somebody clicks on your ad, the page brings them to a page that makes sense. One of the most common mistakes we see is bringing someone to your home page who's really looking for specific service. A lot of cases, your home page isn't going to talk in detail about that service, or it might not even make it really easy to see it. So somebody's going to hit that page, they're going to look at it and they say, oh, this isn't what I wanted. They're going to hit the back button, and then you've just paid for that click and gotten nothing out of it. So it's really important to make sure you've got landing pages that make sense for what people are looking for. Google also allows you to embellish your ads to help increase those conversions. So call extensions is a way to add that phone button. If somebody searches on a mobile device, they can call you directly. And that way they can call and schedule an appointment versus going to your website and starting to dig around and potentially you don't get that phone call. You can add location information to your ad. If you have Google reviews, those can be embedded also. Site links are also very important because those are going to be the pages on your website that are the most frequently visited, the ones that people are looking for most often, and the ones that you usually can convert people into patients on. So you can decide what those site links are, what those other important pages on your website are, and you can include those. And then callouts really are just text that allow you to talk a little bit more about what you can do, help to make your ad stand out a little bit more. They're not clickable, but they do make your ad a little bit bigger, so it makes you stand out a little bit more. Now, when you do get started, targeting is really, really important. So in most cases, location targeting is the most obvious. You're going to want to make sure your ads show in your small geographic area. But say that you have multiple locations, or you have a very unique service, and you can service anybody in your county. You can use Google Ads, and you can actually expand that geographic area, so you can target people who might not have seen you organically. You can also use demographic targeting, which will allow you to limit your ads by age range, gender, household income. This might be important if you wanted to target dentures, for example. You might not want to target and spend money on having that shown to people who are under 45. So with demographic targeting, you can actually use that age range. Another really interesting way to target is with time of day. So you can have different messages at different times of day, or even stop the ads. So for example, maybe you don't want anybody calling you over the weekend. You can stop your ads completely. Or maybe you want to have a different message show over the weekend that calls you out as emergency aftercare and gives some different instructions, sends them to a different landing page if they need help on a weekend. Last thing that's really important to keep in mind with pay-per-click advertising is always monitoring and testing. You want to make sure you're always looking at the campaign, making sure you're not overpaying for everything, checking the keywords and the phrases that actually bring people to your website so that if you need to stop it, if for some reason there's, if you forgot job as a negative keyword, you can add that later on because you can actually see those phrases bringing people and that you're paying for the clicks. You also want to try testing things. Test your headlines, test your copy, test the keywords. Here's just one example of testing headlines. So the ad copy is the same, the URLs are the same. The only thing different is one calls out the location and the other calls out the procedure. You might test and you might find that the location actually does better. So then you would stop that second ad and then maybe test something else later. Now that you've got a headline that works a little bit better, next time test out, instead of contact us for today, maybe it's call us now, schedule your appointment or something like that. So search engine optimization. Now search engine optimization is making sure you show up without having to pay to show. It's showing up in that business listing, it's showing up underneath that business listing. So there's two components. On-site optimization, which are the things that you do on your website itself to help Google understand you, but then off-site optimization. Those are the things that happen outside of your website that help show Google you are a credible source of information and people should want to come to your site. So when we talk about on-site optimization, two big places you're going to look at: the content on your web pages and then the metadata that's in your website. So maybe you've heard before, content is king. It's a phrase that basically talks about having good, solid content is what's going to bring people to your website. So what you want to think about are the words and the phrases people are searching to find what you offer. And then making sure you have a page, you have content that talks about it. So an example would be composite fillings. We have it up here, right? If you want to promote and you want people to come to you for composite fillings, you're going to want to have a page that talks about it. You don't want to just have it be a mention on your About Us page. That's not enough content about composite fillings for Google to say, hey, yeah, this is a site that does composite fillings. I should send people here. You're going to want to have a page. You're going to want to have a blog post. You're going to want to have content that people understand. It's also important to have good page titles. They should include the keywords that you want to appear for so Google knows what the page is about. Plus, that job title carries through and it shows on the search results. So I'm picking on the job site searches, right? If you were to go and want to find a job, say you searched on that, and these different sites came up, you can see Find Your Next Job shows in a Forbes listing. Most people wouldn't consider Forbes a site for jobs, but it's in the job, it's in the title, it's in the URL, it's in the page itself. So that's given it credibility enough to show up with these other big job sites. Now, metadata is information that you might not see and you might not know about, but if you ask your website provider, somewhere in their tool, they're able to get in there and they're able to adjust it. And this metadata is read by Google. It's used by Google. You can see the meta description is actually displayed as a description on the search page. And this is really important because Google uses this also as an indicator of what that content on the page is. Now, the other side of search engine optimization is this off-site optimization. It's getting quality incoming links, backlinks, people understanding that you are a good source of information and other people link back to you. Lots of places you can get backlinks. This is kind of a sample list of things you can look at. If there's a directory of dentists in your state, you can go and have yourself put in there, add your website. That will be a backlink. If there's any local associations that you're part of, Chamber of Commerce that has a directory. Any of those things that's going to give you an opportunity to have a link back to your own website, that's going to be helpful. Another idea is case studies or testimonials. If there's a service or product you use that you want to promote, a lot of cases those vendors will actually put a link back so that you can kind of get a little bit more notice and it builds credibility for them too. The other important thing to do is make sure you claim your business listing. Google My Business is the most important one if you want to show up in those map views with complete information. You want to have your hours of service. You want to have information about who you are, where you're located, all of that. So you want to make sure you claim that if nothing else. Bing is going to be important. It just does not get as much traffic as Google. And then the other sites, you're really going to want to determine which ones to go to based on your local area. So do a quick search on dentists in your area, see what other sites are popping up. That might give you an indication of who else you should go and put your information into. Search engine optimization is a long-term strategy. It does take time. Not only are you trying to build content that's good and solid and answering the search queries, Google has to see that. Google has to believe it. And it's going to believe it because it has those backlinks that are pointing to you as a credible source. But then it also has to rank you against everybody else out there. So it's not just that you have to have good information, it's that you have to be a better source than the other sites. That's going to be what moves you up so that you're closer to page 1 or closer to the top of page 1. So in conclusion, pay-per-click, it's going to get you fast results. You're going to be able to set up a campaign. You're going to be able to show up the next day, potentially getting new patients immediately. Search engine optimization is going to take some time, but once it actually kicks in and it works, you're going to have a lot better results because people are going to just naturally find you. You're not going to have to pay every time they click. You're going to have a credible website that Google is presenting to people. Now, if you can, using the two of them together works very well because you can get that instant satisfaction of the pay-per-click while you build that SEO. And then at some point, you're able to use the pay-per-click to really focus in on the services that you want to promote as opposed to just kind of the general dentistry results. So I know this is a lot of information. It went really fast. Like I said, we'll send you the presentation. We're also going to send you an ebook that we mentioned here, Search Marketing for Dentists. That's going to give you more information about everything I talked about and even more that I wasn't able to cover in a 15-minute session. So I want to thank you for joining us. If you want more information about how you can get help with your pay-per-click or your search engine optimization or your website, you can visit our website, you can give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you out with anything. I want to thank everybody for joining us.